up in the spot. Dudes mugging, hating bad, could it be my style? Or just my pretty boy swag? Can tell by my gear, I do nothing but pop tags. You need a receipt, cause your girl just got back.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is, do some fighters act friendly to soften up their opponent? And for example, we saw Anthony Joshua with Andy Ruiz. We seen even Anthony Joshua with Alexander Usyk, them taking pictures while selecting gloves. Shakur Stevenson made it known that Jamel Herring was not his friend and that they are not friends. Of course, at the end of the fight, he switched his tune, but in the build-up to the fight, he made it clear they're not friends and he was going after Jamel. And let's take a look at an exchange that happened between them before the fight actually happened. So this video appears courtesy of Top Rank. Hey, Top Rank, come on, man. Don't be hated.
Big Sean.
All right. check out this exchange.
To you directly, congratulations with your upcoming, with your daughter coming.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
That's a blessing.
Oh yeah, and I want to say to you too, I'm sorry to hear like what happened with yours. Like I ain't even know nothing about that until.
I appreciate that. That's why I'm saying congrats, because like I said,
most
man,
definitely.
I lost my daughter, but I'm happy for you and yours, man. And like she said, I believe you will be a great father, because like I said, man, you here now fighting for your daughter's future, and I respect that.
I appreciate that, but look. All that friendly stuff, dude, I ain't with that right now.
They want you to cut that out, right? This was supposed to be
heated. Hey, that's part of his game plan. That's part of his game plan. Yeah, that's what he be doing to them fighters. I be saying, just laid back. It's a game plan. Like that was me. Ain't nobody dumb. He be doing that to people. Okay.
Shakur be killing me, man.
I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. We're not friends.
We're not friends. Cut that out until after the fight, because they're not friends. They are enemies until at least the final bell comes. A Saturday night, State Farm Arena, live on ESPN. And
here you saw the exchange. And for those who aren't aware, Shakur Stevenson is going to have a daughter, and Jamel Herring lost a daughter at one point in his life, and so they were sharing that moment. And Shakur says to him, like, nah, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to soften me up, and we're not friends. And so that led me to and us to come up with this topic to say, do some fighters act friendly in an attempt to soften up their opponent? And if that is happening, what should fighters do in that moment? As you saw, Shakur had got caught into the moment, but then kind of and was like, nah, we're not friends. $1 Trillion Bill, do some fighters act friendly to soften up their opponents? And if so, how should the person receiving the kind gestures react to that?
More than physical, boxing is mental. So, of course, some fighters may resort to those tactics, and some fighters just might be just good gentlemen, but they're dogs once that bell rings. You'll shake Sean Porter's hand and he won't say nothing bad about you, but once you get in that ring with him, he is coming full floors, hitting you with everything. He doesn't care. His head, his teeth, his shoulders, his knees and toes. He's coming. So it really doesn't, it really just depends, on the fighter. But definitely I agree. Some probably have, and some use the other tactic, being overly aggressive, and saying the most outlandish things they possibly can. At the end of the day, I just say that it depends on the fighter and what works for them. But as the other opponent, say if somebody's coming in nicer, you can have the mentality of a Steven Shakur, like, this is still a fight. Yeah, we're cool. Yeah, we could be cordial. We could be gentlemen. But at the end of the day, this is still a fight. And this is a fight it's actually a fight of survival in many ways. You know why? Because it's a fight for you for as long as you can take care of your family. Because sometimes a fight could be your last fight, depending on how you fight. So, you're going out there and you're fighting to put food on your family's table. So this is still a fight, and yeah, it's mental. So yeah, I see some opponents, they do use that angle, but some guys is just gentlemen. Some guys are just nice guys until that bell rings, and some guys can talk that talk. some guys, they the most aggressive guys at the press conference. Get in the ring and they're just the sweetest things ever. You know? So you never know. So it just depends, you know.
I dig it. Conspiracy.
I mean, I would use it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, let's say I was going up against a Lennox Lewis, and I know he's going to take my head clean off. Bro, I'm trying to be his friend, son. You know what I'm saying? Like, and hopefully I could tap into his inner childhood, and he looks at me as one of his besties. You know what I mean? So he goes, I'm going to knock you out, but I'm not determined to knock you out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a different type of energy. Like, when a person, like, everyone's on, like, a spectrum when you kind of think about it. Like, fighters may go, like what Trill was saying, overly aggressive, right? And some guys may be just, I'm just a nice guy. You know what I mean? And everyone's all fall in between. If I'm like on that, I'm on a nice guy tip. And it's funny that you said Sean Porter. I was thinking Sean Porter too. But that's just who he is. You know what I mean? He's with like any person, Sean Porter's just gonna be a nice dude, right? So that's not
necessarily. You go to Pac-Man in there too. He's the same way.
Yeah, it's like these guys are just nice men. You know what I mean? So that's not a strategy for them. But like there's other people, you're like, yo, come on, son. Are you really this nice? Like, I don't think Joseph Parker's that nice of a guy, me personally. You know what I mean? I really just don't. I feel like
what's your beef with Joseph, dog? You always bring the smoke to Joseph.
I like Parker. I really do. But
Parker can never impress G. Like G. He was G. Nice. What's your expectations for Parker in this fight? He better take his head clean off. I want trips to the ER, body bags and blood. If I don't see that, it's not a good fight. Parker wins the fight by decision. I'm not impressed with him.
Listen, think about this. Remember when Parker fought AJ? Bro, I could tell AJ, like AJ's bringing it to him. This dude's running away. AJ stopped. It looked like AJ didn't even want to kill this guy. I'm like, yo, they too friendly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a strategy that dudes implement. They're like, yo, this dude about to take my head off. Oh, word. Hey, man, how's your family? Oh, oh man. Oh, yo, I love these pictures, man. How's the Queen of England? I don't care about none of that, son. That's why, like, Shakur kind of, it was funny what Shakur was doing. Like, yo, fam, yo, get out of here. I ain't friends with you. I'm going to knock you out. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it should be. But nonetheless, I understand. Honestly, I think this strategy is more effective than the rah-rah talk. Like, yo, I'm a dude. You know what I mean? Kind of like, what's that dude name? Brazil, when he was taking it to AJ. And I've never seen AJ turn gangster. He turned, British gangster. Don't play with me, brev. You know what I mean? You're not about that life, brev. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, that's a different element of AJ, right? And then what happened? AJ took this dude head off. You know what I mean? And so, like, I feel like when you're the nice guy, they might be like, yo, man, I went to that award show with the kid. I met his wife and his children. You know what? I'm going to knock him out. But I ain't going to, like, knock him out. You know what I mean? I'll go for the TKO as opposed to the KO. You probably think all of that stuff, and that could backfire in your face. Like AJ, to me, he's too nice. Like, and I don't know what plays in AJ's mind, but it might help. It might help. Like, think about it. If you're a nice guy to a dude like AJ, it might be to your favor. So I'm like, yo, I would do the same thing. I'm telling you, I would do the same thing. Yo, oh man, how's your son? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about your son, but I'm gonna say it anyways. You know what I mean? Like, how about a little one, man? God bless. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna say whatever it takes not to die in that ring. So it is what it is,
Unless it's Triple G, because Triple G is still trying to take your head off.
And G, tell the truth, G.
What up?
G also has other strategies. Like when he's talking rah-rah and things don't go his way and the karma kicks in, then G tries to come as peace brother GRE to try to change the juju, and even that don't work. But now, go ahead.
Post conference, like, the better man won. Blessings. You know what I mean? you lose. Like, when you lose, what you gonna say? Like, the referee cheated, bro. The referee let you win. Like, nah, stop it. I got beat. It is what it is.
Ned the TBE.
All right. This is like, it's a subject that, like, it's there's multiple perspectives you gotta look at. I feel
Tyson showed us the blueprint when it comes to fighting your friends or when you fight an opponent, how you think. And Tyson once said, he said, he didn't say to the fighter, but he said to a fan, I'm a F you till you love me. So you don't know what goes on these fighters' heads when they get into battle mode. That's it. You don't know what goes in their heads when they get into battle mode. So when they get like for this, AJ may be friendly. Wilder may be like, I want to catch a body. Fury be like, he's a dosser. He's a great champion, but he's a dosser. Things like that. You just don't know. But for me, that they don't soften up their opponents for their fights. I just think they just try to throw off their opponents. They try to throw them off, get them off their game. Like, you said this, you said that, and so on. But
so
you done?
let me ask you a question though.
Go ahead.
If AJ fought Big Pharma Miller, you think AJ would have been nice guy AJ, or AJ would have tried to take this dude's head off?
AJ said something about his mother. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if he's gonna be nice. I don't know what AJ said something about his mother. AJ's like, your mother.
You saying AJ or do you mean Big Baby?
No, AJ said something about Big Baby's mother after
Big Baby said something about AJ's mother, and then AJ said that like he'll pay his mother's rent, and he said like his mother looks good. Like AJ was just like complimenting his mom. AJ didn't like diss his mom.
Yeah, thank you. So at the end of the day, I don't think AJ is gonna come in there friendly, but I think AJ would know the threat. Like there's certain matches where you meet you have a respect for fighter, you know who they are, but you don't know them personally. And I think some fighters have respect for that. Some fighters that who cross boundaries be like, hey, F everything you have, F your wife, F your kids, F your I eat your children. And then some fighters come in like, all right, yo, this dude want to take my head off. I can't go out like that. That's where you have your Buster Douglases. And that's where you have your Buster Douglas. Like Tyson's not gonna disrespect me on this night, and I'll respect the Buster Douglas. I just want to make it clear. I heard he lost his mother that night. And that was just
not that night.
Yeah,
not that night.
That day.
Yeah.
That day.
No.
So Buster Douglas was like, he's not gonna come in here and disrespect me after I just lost my mom. And Buster Douglas came out a true champion. But it is what it is. It's all on the night of the fight, Like it could be a full moon, a blue moon, a red moon, whatever.
Nah, but not even. She like Buster Douglas has something to fight for, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you talk trash, you can motivate the guy to really want to hurt you. You know what I mean? And he's like, yo, I can't lose to this guy because of his mouth. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, that could backfire on a person. But being friendly, it seems like a safe strategy. I'm just saying, like, the guy don't want to kill you. He's like, I want to beat you, but I don't want to kill you. You know what I mean? That's a different type of energy.
All right.
Yeah. For me, I think both ways are strategic, and you see it in many forms. Like, for example, I think Angel Garcia, Danny Garcia's dad, he knows when he's in against a fighter who may be a better skilled boxer. So he tries to ruffle that fighter's feathers and make that fighter upset so he can come in and try to attack Danny so he can open himself up to get caught by Danny. Because Danny Garcia is good timing, good counters. And so he thinks, if I get this dude mad enough, and he tries to knock out my son because he's mad at me, it gives my son a better chance of winning. So that's the way he goes about it. And you look at like Muhammad Ali, for example, and how he went about getting Liston. See, Liston was beating people, cruising comfortably. Ali was like, I got to get this dude out of his element. I got to make this guy uncomfortable. I can't let him be so comfortable. So in the build-up, like Ali was doing a lot of crazy things, showing up, heckling him, hounding him. Like even at the weigh-in, Ali, when they're doing the physical exams and all that before the fight, Ali showed up acting crazy. They had to take his blood pressure after, because but his whole thing was to psych him out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just like even Caleb Plant, for example, I feel like Caleb is trying to take a page out of the Ali listing book with Canelo, because he sees that like Canelo is cruising through and he feels like people are giving Canelo too much respect. Well, that was what Billy Joe Saunders did, but then Billy Joe Saunders kind of negated all his stuff by asking for a bigger ring than basically before the fight and refusing to fight unless Canelo gave him the ring. And Canelo just gave him the ring. But you look at what Caleb's doing. Caleb's trying to send a message to Canelo early that I'm not one of the guys you're used to fighting. I'm a different beast. So he's taking the strategy of like disrespect, no respect. I'm what you should fear. Now we'll see how that plays out for him. But you know, in contrast, you do have the fighters who try to soften their opponent up. And I think there's no doubt in my mind Andy Ruiz was playing a game. Because Andy Ruiz came in like he was enamored with AJ, like, oh wow, these belts, all four of them? Wow, they're so heavy.
Shiny.
Oh my God, those belts are so heavy. I never realized they were so heavy. Oh, this is Anthony Joshua, man. Give me a picture with Anthony. Oh my God. And then he went in there and beat AJ, and his whole tune changed. Joshua's robotic. He can't fight. I wanted to fight him from the whole time. I knew that he can. I was going to get a win over him. He was nothing. Like, you weren't saying that when you first met him, though. When you first met him, you were Mr. Nice Guy. And then the second time around, all of a sudden, he got no chin. He's easy. He's a robot. So there's no doubt in my mind that what AJ did, what Ruiz did to AJ was strategy. So you look at even with Usyk, I genuinely think Usyk's a nice guy. And you look at Usyk, he did the same. He did the same thing with Chisora, and the talking. But what I think is out on AJ is if you take away his desire to physically hurt you, you have a better chance because he's not going to start off being aggressive. And I think a lot of fighters know that about AJ. So now I think the whole thing is just going to be nice to him. Because people see, like, if you're nice to AJ, then it kind of mentally takes away his killer instinct in many ways. And so I do think that works. And you do see some fighters employ that strategy. Like Manny Pacquiao, I just think that's who he is. Manny will never be like, oh, you're a bum and I'm going to kill you before the fight. That's not what Manny does. Manny just says, okay, we'll see. Only God knows who's going to win the fight, and I just hope to do my best. And Pacquiao goes in that locker room like, I'm going to kill his ass. Yo, my favorite thing with Pacquiao, though, is whenever, like, someone's been trash talking Pacquiao, and, like, they go for, like, the face-off right before the fight, and you look at Pacquiao, like, Mr. Friendly's gone. Mr. Friendly is Pacquiao was looking at him like, oh yeah, now we're gonna see, mother effer. All the stuff you was talking, we're gonna see right now. So like, I do think there are those fighters though, like who will praise you, who will say things about you to try to soften you up. And that just goes to who you are as a person. And I think Shakur knew in his heart, he had to keep telling himself, I'm not friends with this dude. I got to batter this dude because he knew that, there was the position where he could try to take the big brother role and bring love into it and all types of things. So I think Shakur had to keep reminding himself and reminding Jamel, like, yo, bro, this isn't working. Like, we're not friends at the end of the day, and I'm coming to take your head off. So just know that. And I think that's fine too. And in many ways, I feel like, AJ should implement that into his game. And I'll close with this. I notice in America, that's an American thing where, like, for us, if you're my opponent, you're my enemy. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean there's no love there. Because you saw at the end of the fight, Shakur was like, I love this dude. I got nothing but love for him, but I couldn't like let that into my mind before the fight. Whereas like in the UK, they say sportsmanship is big and they want to be like brotherly and respectful. I understand both trains of thought. And that's why what I was saying with Wilder, I wasn't going to jump on him too soon because I know the school of thought is like, yo, I have to literally prepare. If the shot's open, I got to be willing to take the shot. And I can't have feelings of, oh, I don't want to hurt my friend. Oh, I love this guy. Oh, I don't want to take this guy away from his family. Prevent me from taking the shot when it presents itself. When the shot is there, I need to be thinking, knock him out. Get him right now. Finish him. That's the thought process. And unless you ever played or been involved in boxing or a sport where you can really hurt someone, you really need that mentality, bro. Like, you can't pull the punch. You can't hold back. That's all it takes is that second of being hesitant to change everything. When you see the kill, you need to take the kill. And sometimes having feelings to stop you from doing that. I think AJ needs to stop being too friendly. But, you know, I do think there's balance. But to answer the question, yes, some fighters definitely act friendly to soften up their opponents, like Andy Ruiz.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
When things seem bleak, walk with me. To navigate these streets, walk with me.